In a world where clouds whip and wishes bear consequences, one debut novel illuminates the fine line between power and peril. From the heart of Nigeria's capital, we hear the rising voice of Uchendu Chidiebere as Crying Clouds unfolds a tale of supernatural gifts, generational burdens, and forbidden love. Welcome to Book World. I am your host, Andrea Tohe, and with me today is Uchendu Chidiebere. Hi, Uchendu
Hello, Andrea.
Chidiebere.
Hello, Andrea.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
No problem. So now tell us about When Crying Clouds. What inspired this supernatural concept of a wish being granted when clouds cry?
Okay, so the concept of crying clouds, actually, it came to me when I was really young because I am a selenophile. These people who look up to the moon, people who study the moon, who likes to look at the moon. So
Okay.
in 2010, I was looking at the moon. I was just looking at the sky, to be precise, and then I saw a shooting star for the first time in my life. So, being the fact that I've seen a whole lot of Disney films, it just made me to quickly make a wish that moment. So I made a certain wish that moment, a wish that I forgot about. But the fact that I'm a selenophile, I looked up to the sky again sometime in 2018, and then I saw another shooting star, and this reminded me of the wish that I asked for in 2010. So I thank God that that wish did not come true, because if it did, if it did, I may probably not have been here anymore, because that was the same case with some of the characters in the book. So what I wished for was to be the smartest kid, you get.
Okay.
So what happened when I'm no longer a kid? So that was the case of one of the characters. So before I just said, okay, let me look for how I can turn this into a story. And then I now had the idea of rain and cloud. I said, okay, let me not use the moon again. Let's
Okay.
talk about rain and cloud. Let's just make it make sense to try to tell this story. So that's that.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting concept because people say when rain starts to fall, it means, something incredible has happened or something different has happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people think. Then another part of this book is, there's two sides to the rain. Sometimes you want the rain, sometimes you don't want the rain. You wish for it to fall, you don't wish for it to fall. So there's two sides to it. And that's
Okay.
one of the things we try to talk about too in the book.
Okay. All right. So can you tell us about, your family background, your roots, and what inspired you to go into a different culture and tell the story from that perspective?
Okay, so my name is Chidiebere, clearly from the southeastern part of Nigeria. So I'm from a village called Amachara in Umahia, but I was born in Abuja, grew up in Abuja, but I still know my roots though. So the book itself talks a whole lot about family, and then my family is just really incredible with looking out for ourselves, and I just wanted to reflect it in that book. This really about family being always there for themselves, looking out for themselves and everything. And that was what happened in the book with the main characters, the family, the Mudia and the other families too. Even if they were angry at themselves, when it comes to protecting themselves from outsiders, they did a whole lot of that. So then telling a story about another setting, we're all Africans. Do you get? So I really don't think it matters if it's from my place or not. But I feel I've read so much about these people. That's the Benin culture, the history and stuff. I've seen films about them too, and it's really their stories are really, really incredible. That I feel we can literally make our own Game of Thrones from it. That's big stories that can milk us a whole lot of money from it. Telling the story about the five warrior kings, the Idia, telling the story of the punitive expedition, the fall of the Great Wall of Benin City, and so many tales can be gotten from there. So I just picked some and just put it in my own book.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting because you rarely see Nigerians or even people from different cultures telling stories about other people from other cultures. So it's rare, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, and we're glad you did that. So can you please tell us your personal experience and if it resonates with the book? You already told us about how, you know, you made a wish on the moon on a shooting star, and you changed it to the crying clouds in the book. But there's something in the book that talks about a gift.
Yeah.
You know, for I think it's Edosa Idemudia in the book. Do you have a personal experience with that as well?
I don't have any personal experience with Edosa Idemudia, the character from the book.
Okay.
Her story, I don't have, and her story was really not story of bread and roses. Her story was a really bitter story, sad story. So I don't have any personal experience with her story. I think the inspiration was just to tell a beautiful story, and then because there was so much struggles when it came to that character Edosa Idemudia, and she's not really my favorite character, but I just needed to tell a really, really interesting story. That was why I so there's nothing relatable that I can like see personal, or I share like a personal experience with her.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going forth with, you know, we're going back and forth rather with the story of the having a gift and making a wish when clouds cry and all of that. Can you just briefly tell us a summary of what the book is really all about so we can understand fully?
Okay. So Crying Clouds, the book, it talks about a family who possesses a unique gift to make a wish when the clouds cry. So this is literally a once in a lifetime gift. So it asks the question, if you have an opportunity to just say, I want this, what would it be?
Okay.
And in that time, you then realize that human beings, we have so much want. You may just say, I want this only, but then you find out there are so many other things
that you'd actually want.
That you'd actually want, honestly. So that's the story primarily. But in the course of making these gifts for these people that I talked about in the book, the Edosa and Favor, in the course of making these gifts, they stepped on people's toes. And so these guys, they are the villains and everything. But what I just said now, that's primarily what the book is about.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's an interesting story, an interesting perspective.
Thank you.
So I asked you earlier about your favorite parts in the book. And you showed me where we can read to the audience and they can hear a little of your writing. So I'm going to read it out.
Okay.
All right. Nemesis did not quite leave too soon to go kidnap Favor. It was not just kidnapping Favor, but the blow that would begin the war. This move he made would begin the war, so he had to prepare. His way of preparation was not to physically increase his muscles, but to exalt his spirit. Right in the mansion, after he confirmed he locked the basement properly, he grabbed a cigarette and a drink. He sought for a cinnamon, a song by Nina Simone, in Osahon's playlist, but Osahon was not a fan of jazz music. Now it's giving me thriller vibes.
Exactly.
It's giving me thriller vibes. Can you tell me why this part was done?
Okay, so Nemesis, one of my favorite characters, he's the villain from the book. So I just feel like that part of the book is the part that can attract people, or that's like one of the most interesting parts, the part where Nemesis came back. Nemesis, if you read the synopsis of the book, it talks about, Nemesis was mentioned there. It talks about a family which Edosa offended in the past. So that's where Nemesis is from. So his name is not actually Nemesis. You saw Bobo in the book.
Yes, I saw Bobo in the book earlier.
So he changed his name from Bobo to Nemesis because he felt he was Nemesis for Edosa.
Wow.
Yes, so that's that guy.
So this brings a theme of revenge. Clearly. And I also read a part of it that also springs up a theme of forgiveness.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what message exactly are you hoping would resonate with the readers when they come across your book?
Okay, so the message is a message of dialogue.
Okay.
Dialogue to resolve conflict. because in this world where we are, there's been conflicts. I don't know. I don't say from the beginning, but from time past, there's been conflicts, and one of the things that solve these conflicts are dialogue, communication. When they sit down in the parley to discuss and find ways that they can resolve, it has solved so many problems.
Yeah.
And it can still solve so many problems. And most of the conflicts in this world that went on, it was probably because they did not sit down to communicate.
True.
So this was the case in the book between Nemesis. It was not Nemesis actually, it was his sister. Between Nemesis' sister and Edosa, that's the two main characters. They were the ones who had a feud in the beginning, but Nemesis came back for revenge. So they could have sat down to communicate, dialogue, but they did not. And then this thing went on to going on. But it's not that they did not actually. Me as the writer, I did not create that room because I wanted people to see that, oh, actually, if the two of them had talked about it. Because there were so many times when Edosa wanted to see her, but me as the writer, I just created some obstacles that they could not just meet at that point and stuff. So when I'm having conversations with people who have read it, I just want them to point out to say, oh, if she had actually spoken with her that time. So, but they even got to speak again in the end. That's Nemesis and the Edosa, because the Grace, Nemesis' sister, she died long time back. They got to sit down to speak, but I guess things were too far gone that time. Although there's nothing that's too far gone, they could still sit to resolve. But that's that.
Although I know it's, in your license as a writer to say, okay, you pull them back from having a dialogue and all, but I believe this also happens in real life. Instead of people having dialogues, they go to war.
Yeah.
They pull out their weapons and then they go to war. And, it could just be resolved by having a simple conversation.
Honestly.
And it starts from the smallest of relationships, like family, for example. It starts from the family, then you go out with your friends in school, your friends at work, or your colleagues at work. And instead of having a dialogue to resolve your issues, you
Honestly.
go ahead and start fighting, or you hold grudges and all of that. So, yeah, it's very interesting to see that these things actually happen in real life, So, I would like to also ask, you said your novel is a soon-to-be major motion picture.
Emphasis on major.
Major motion picture, yes, emphasis on major. So can you tell us a little bit more about that, and also what you think about authors being encouraged to make their books into films?
Okay, so I'm also a TV writer.
Okay, great.
I'm also a TV writer, so I feel that's like my first love, TV writing, before being an author or being a book writer. So that's that. So I feel for it to reach more audience, it's only right to try to adapt it to something else. Maybe not just film. You can even adapt it to radio. It could be poetry and stuff, just for it to reach more audience. But now, these days, I think television now is the main thing. Visual content, motion pictures and everything. So if you want your books to get to wider audience, it's only right for you to put it in television. There are so many films now that we would not have known of. There are so many films now that were actually books.
Yeah.
And we may not have even heard of them if they were not made into
films.
Like
True.
Harry Potter now, like Beast of No Nation. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen the movie.
It was actually a book initially. So we would not have heard about the book or heard about the film if it was not made into a film. So the whole idea of trying to make it into a film is for the story to reach a larger audience through television.
True. That's true, because a lot of people would rather watch the movie than read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I completely understand. Now, I'm just going to play a very short game with you. And since we're talking about wishing, the gift of wishing, it's called Wish or Wish Not. Now, I'm going to, between two hypothetical wishes inspired by the book's premise.
Okay.
You're going to tell me which one you would rather wish for and which one you would wish not for.
Okay.
So, if you have the gifts, would you wish for endless happiness or true justice? Take 30 seconds to answer that.
I will wish for true justice.
True justice?
Yeah. I'm also an of the greatest boo kind of person. Sorry. So I wish for true justice.
True
Yeah.
justice.
So I just like equality. I like fairness, advocacy, and stuff. So, yeah.
Now, your debut launch
Okay.
must have been, very phenomenal, a milestone event for you. Can you tell us
Indeed.
what your most memorable thing was about that event?
Okay. I did the launch this year, 2025, May 31st.
Okay.
So everything is memorable to me. The entire event itself. I remember when we were making runs for the event, I pushed myself a whole lot because I wanted to do something. It's my first. Do
Yes.
you get? I wanted to do something that anytime I look back at, it will remind me that, oh, Chidiebere, you're actually here for this. And that was literally what happened at that event. Given the number of people that came out, the way people talked about it, how people really enjoyed the show, you get a lot of people said a lot of things at book events. People just come and then they go, but it was not the case for my debut book launch, and I was super excited. It went so successful. There were a whole lot of people from the book space in Abuja, the big wigs, people from the film space, corporate world, everything. They came and they really loved the book and everything. So it was really, really memorable. Even my speech on that day, I gave a really, I just loved my speech on that day because it was one of it was like the perfect speech for a first outing. I talked about telling the African story. That is what I talked about. That's even my signature for this book. So if anybody gets the book, I'll just write keep loving the African story, because me, I'll keep telling the African story. So it's that kind of event that anytime I look back at it, I'll just say, guy, you're really, really here to do this.
That's so good. That's so interesting because we really hope and we really want more young people to write more African stories. And what would you say to someone who before now you had not yet written a book and you were planning to write one? There might be someone in that same position right now trying to write a book or thinking of writing a book. What can you say to encourage that person? A young person especially.
Okay, so if anybody wants to write a book, or if you're in the process of writing a book, I would say stay true to your art and try to love your story, because there's so many distractions. There's so many distractions in the world where we are today. So if you love that story, that's what is going to remind you that I'm doing something very important and I have to go back to it.
Yeah.
Because writing, I don't know, you need to really love writing to want to write, and you need to really love that your story to want to write it. So you have to love it, right? Love that story so that you can always go back to it, because sometimes there may be no zeal for you to want to do it, but you first need to love it. You can say, okay, I don't want to write again. Let me run and go and do content creation. Let me run and go and do something that everybody's doing that's trending and stuff. So that's that. And I also tell the person to research, read, um, make research, try to learn more, because I say to myself often, as a writer, you need to know something about everything.
Yeah.
You need to know something, about everything. So you need to make a whole lot of research as a writer, so that you can put a whole lot of knowledge in your book. So that's just so that when it comes out, it will be something that people would appreciate.
Great.
And it will be something that can last for a long time. Because these books, we're not just doing them. It's not a book that we say in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, they're going to go. There are books that have been there for a really long time.
Really long time, yes.
Like this guy's book now, Crime and Punishment. I can't remember the writer, but it has been there for a really long time. Even Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart has been there. So it's that type of book that we're trying to create. So you need a whole lot of research to put into it. So that's what I would say to young writers: research, love your story, and stay true to your art.
Great. That's a very good advice. And after writing, doing your own research, putting your own work together, can you say that we should expect a sequel to this book? or maybe another book?
A sequel. In a world where sequels flop,
Not entirely, not all.
I'm also a TV writer, I mentioned. So these days, I don't know. There's so many films that the sequels, people just say, I don't like it.
But in this case, it's a book, so
I know, but it's about the story itself. They just feel the first one was better than the second one. Or they just feel that there's nothing you can make in the second one that can beat the first one. So, but I'll not let that discourage me. I've not really thought about making a sequel to the film, although the book is this kind of book that is continuous because it talks about people differently. Because it talked about Edusa, it talked about her daughter, it talked about the one before Edusa, that's the grandmother, their crying clouds, how they used their wish, came to Edusa, then to the mother. So it can keep going,
exactly.
Yeah,
it's a family, it's a generation.
Exactly, because the last part of the book was when Favor's daughter was going to make her own wish. So we just ended it there because we did not want to continue the story again. So, and somebody was asking, I want to know what happened, how she used her own wish. So that's that. But I've not really thought about it. But let's see, Sha. But another book, definitely. Another book is coming up soon. And this one is about my people now.
Your own people now.
But
it's allowed. It's allowed.
Yeah, but everybody's my person. But Africans, we're Nigerians, we're all the same. We're all the same people.
I mean, as long as you do your research, you tell the story, you stay true to your story, like you have said, there's no problem in sharing stories from other cultures.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, so now let's go to some things that were in this book. Let me just ask you one question about forgiveness. Now, how can you say you navigate forgiveness in the face of betrayal? Just like in this book now, because I know there are things of betrayal, forgiveness, revenge. How can you navigate forgiveness in the face of betrayal? You can use instances from the book.
Okay, I'm trying to think of one from the book now. But top of my head, nothing. Okay, but I think it has to do with emotional maturity for you to be able to forgive in the face of betrayal. That is somebody who has done, someone close to you, a friend or something, has done you something terrible. For you to be able to forgive that person, it has to come from a place of emotional maturity. Some people are not that matured emotional to forgive a friend and stuff. But when you forgive this person, it doesn't, even if you do not, it doesn't mean that you have to still go back to what you people were before. But it's just only right for you to forgive that person, because when you forgive, you let go. But it doesn't mean that you people may become besties or best friends as you were before. But I think the word there should be emotional maturity. You need to be mature to understand that no matter what this person does to me, I just still have to forgive this person, but not still going back to becoming besties with this person. So that's that.
Great. This is awesome. We've discussed very interesting themes from the book, and I'm really very, very glad that you joined us today and you shared with us, Chidi. Thank you. Power, love, vengeance, and the bonds that challenge in Crying Clouds is more than a novel. It's a conversation about the choices we wish for and the ones we dare not make. You have heard it all from Uchendu Chidiebere himself. Thank you for joining us on Book World. Dive into Crying Clouds and let its legacy of wishes and consequences unfold in your imagination. I am Andrea Tohe, and I will see you next time where stories awaken.